fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
What's up, everyone? Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today we are taking a look at a little bit of a throwback. We are taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series, Crimson Empire, Carnor Jax, from the first wave of the publishing series. This is, what, 2022 or so? I've been sitting on this guy for a little while. I picked him up at a Toy Hi-O event last year. He was in a box of figures under a table. He was $5, and I was like, you know what? Someday I'll get to it, and that is today. Now, I gotta say, he's labeled as Carnor Jax, super old info at this point. The figure is actually Kir Kanos. I've never read Crimson Empire. I don't know what either of these guys are. He's just a really cool variant of an Imperial Royal Guard, and that's interesting to me. So I just wanted to take a look at it. He's just going to get put with the Royal Guards on my shelf and just be a little nugget of Legends hoopla that I never cared about in the first place. But we're just going to appreciate it for being a good action figure. So all said, let's go ahead and jump into the review and take a look at what we're getting here. So here's the Carnor Jax figure in the packaging. Let's take a quick look, as we always do. The publishing packaging was always really, really cool. It was some of the only Black Series packaging to feature a flip-open lid. But before we get into that, let's just take a moment to appreciate the awesome cover art that they have chosen to use for this figure. This is from probably a novel or a comic book. You know, they take images from covers, and they will use them on these publishing figures just to really make them pop. That a disintegrating Imperial cog behind them is a super nice touch. It was part of that 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm line going on, so that would have been like 2021. Carnor Jax, warning 4+ Hasbro. This side features a still of the character from one of the panels, his name, and your Black Series logo down below. Around back, you have a bunch of legal hoopity-doopity, and it is in a variety of languages, very standard action figure box stuff. Black Series, or a barcode, and a Hasbro logo, and around the edges of the box are different comic panels. Opening the box like so, you do have a bio about the character. Pause and read in whichever language best applies to you. You have another cool image of him walking away from his robes, and here's the figure in the bubble. So again, it's standard action figure stuff, just a slightly fancier presentation. Really, really cool looking. Let's go ahead and rip this guy open and take a look at what we're getting here. So here's Carnor Jax, aka Kir Kanos, out of the packaging. We're going to start by taking a look at his accessories. They are some pretty cool ones. So he comes with the Scout Trooper pistol, which is a nice little inclusion. It is in a matte black, no paint whatsoever, and that is fine. It comes in the package already in his holster, which is nice because this figure is reused from the Royal Guard, and he had that going on in the Royal Guard. And if he's not supposed to have the pistol in universe, I couldn't tell you, but if he's not supposed to have that, Black Series nowadays would have just given you the figure with an empty holster, so that's nice. And then he comes with his, I don't know what to call this, double-bladed sword, some kind of pike thing. Knowing Star Wars of the late 90s, early 2000s, probably some kind of vibro something, and it's a cool weapon. It has a interesting grip going on there. Looks very cool. The blades are in a flat silver, but they look metallic-y enough. Very passable. Looks really good. Setting that off to the side, looking at this figure, I'm going to be honest. If you have this guy, you know what you're getting here. And if you don't have this guy, I recommend you pick up this guy, because he's a very good action figure. And that said, if this flavor of that guy interests you, then maybe you should pick up both of them. But this guy is really, really cool. He has this awesome cape going on that has a purple metallic-y like vinyl insert going on. I can tell it's vinyl because like when you like stretch the material, it starts to crack a little bit, so I don't advise doing a whole ton of that. But they ironed on some like chromy purple vinyl on the inside of this very nice red fabric, and that is a really cool look. Otherwise, this is the same figure we've seen before with the Royal Guard. So his visor isn't black, it's like a burgundy, like a dark red, and that's really cool. It is in a glossy red finish, and just is very eye-catching. He's got armor going on underneath of the soft goods. He's got shoulder pads going on, and the chest plate, and then the belt with the pouches, the holster once more, and then he's got the plates on the front of the shins, and then everything else is done in matte, like the red on the back of the legs and on the sleeves, because those are supposed to be fabric parts of the costume, and of course the black is meant to be fabric as well. And I do like that contrast. The armor is very shiny, the not armor is very not, and the cape is just very cool. I do love that purple going on. It's a very cool look. Something really cool about this design, you know, a lot of your Star Wars costumes, you know, dude in armor, it's very enclosed. But this guy, like, you see, like, straps going around, you know, holding plates together. It's just a bit of a unique design, and I do really like the look of it. It was really cool when the Royal Guard came out in 2017. It was Redbox era. It came out in like 2017, might have been 16, probably 17. But the figure, you know, like, it's a guy wearing a completely body and covering, you know, red, you know, bag, basically. You know, it's like, what does he look like underneath? And that figure, underneath of that, they decided to sculpt a guy that kind of looked like a comic book thing, because they were like, someday. And someday indeed, he is here, and he's been here for a couple of years, but I'm finally getting to it, and he looks really, really cool. And on the channel, this is our first real, like, look at a Royal Guard, so that's always exciting. But this guy's really, really cool. Just something I know nothing about, but I look at it, and I'm like, dang, that's a cool toy. So let's give this guy a little rundown. Let's talk about some articulation. Now, this is a sculpt from 17 again, so little dated, but not bad. So the head is interesting. The helmet has a flap that comes down over the chest and then down the back a little bit. So the head is basically stuck. There is a ball joint of articulation in there. That's about what you get. It's yeah, you're not getting much going on that dome, but that's all right. That's just how it goes sometimes. So he's got these big shoulder pads, but you can raise the arms up to a T-pose, and the shoulder pad goes like into the torso, which is really cool. No butterfly joint. It was a little bit before that was a commonplace thing in the line, but you can rotate at the shoulder 360 degrees. Single jointed elbows can go 290 and swivel at the elbow, 360 on the wrist, and then both of them hinge up and down, which is really cool. Also worth noting is his left hand is the hand sculpted to hold the pistol. I'll point that out while we're running through here, because the pistol can only be held by 2 fingers, not an entire hand. So while we're working our way down the figure, that became relevant. Now he has a mid-torso, like, crunch, ball joint crunch. You can go about that far forward, that far back. This is where you'll get your waist twist and a little bit of pivot in there. His legs can do that far a split, which is pretty cool. You can go pretty far forward, not much back. There's a thigh rotation on him, so he must be a good figure. And then he has the double jointed knees. They can go very far back, and then the feet can point basically straight down. Not much forward before they hit into that shin plate, but, like, there's a little in there. And then there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, letting you put this guy in multiple wide-legged stances with both feet flat on the ground, which is a really, really nice touch. Putting this guy next to some other Imperial figures, you see, naturally, he's the same height as the Royal Guard, believe it or not. Vader towers over him, as it should be, and then putting him next to the standard height of a 6-inch Stormtrooper, he is right about the same height, just a smidge taller. And I feel that's good. I think this guy should just be a plain Jane 6-foot-tall guy. I think that works very well. So, end of the day, what do I think of this Carnor Jax, Kir Kanos really figure? You know, it's really cool. Again, zero attachment to me. I don't know anything about it, so I purely am coming at it from the perspective of it being a cool action figure. I know there's going to be someone in the comments telling me to go read an old comic book. I'm not going to do that. I am completely fine with Legends remaining Legends and canon being canon. But this is still just a really cool action figure design, and sometimes that's what it's about. You know, I have the White Infinities Darth Vader. I know it's not from anything. It's just kind of cool. I have the publishing shirtless Darth Maul, because as a guy that wears shirts, sometimes you can take a shirt off. I accept that in action figure form. You know, I mean, just stuff like that. So this is just something where I was like, yeah, it's just a neat variant of a Royal Guard. Maybe this is like a leader of a Royal Guard, or maybe this is a guy that got his hands on some Royal Guard armor. I don't know what he's going to be. Ultimately, I'm going to put him on my Stormtrooper shelf with some other Royal Guards, and that's kind of just going to be where he lives. And that's A-okay, in my opinion. Now, if you are a fan, feel free to say what's cool about this guy in the comments below. If you just want to talk about this figure, let's talk in the comments below. Let's be super chill, have a fun time. I always like talking toys. So until next time, thank you for hanging out. May the Force be with each and every one of you, and I hope you all continue to have a great day. Bye.